forgot one thing. Smoke.
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all tuning into the channel. This is Redline Outdoors. Thank y'all for giving me a visit. But today's video is going to be on how I scout a new piece of property or even a public piece of property. How I go about breaking it down, that specific piece of property, breaking it down and dissecting it and really learning what the deer are doing on that specific piece of property. This piece of property right here is roughly 40 acres of huntable land. I've hunted here before. I've already scouted it before, so I kind of already know what the deer are doing. But what we're going to do, I'm going to dive into this piece of property. Remember, it's only 40 acres, and sometimes a lot of people don't even have 40 acres to hunt. Let's just be honest, especially as much as leases cost these days. But we're going to pretend that I've never hunted here before. I'm going to dissect this piece of property for you so y'all can kind of see how I would go about dissecting a piece of property to dive in and try to kill a big buck. Now, every year on this piece of property I have shooter bucks. This piece of property does not have a lot of deer. However, there will be normally anywhere from 1 to 3 shooter bucks on this piece of property that travel through here at some point in time. Now, last year I had 3 shooter bucks come through here at a kill location that I'm going to take y'all to here in a minute, and they were good bucks. I mean, they were, for this area, they were 140-inch type deer. And that's pretty good for North Louisiana where I'm at. So, and I wish I still had the pictures of those deer, but I really don't save all the deer pictures that I get. I wish I did, but I might can dive back on some SD cards and find them maybe. But they were some really good deer for this area. So this method of scouting that I'm about to show y'all can be done anywhere in the country. Now, granted, this is only 40 acres. If you have 200 or 300 acres, you would need to dissect it into blocks. Of course, it's going to take you much longer to scout 300 acres. It might take you 3 days to properly scout 300 acres. We can get this done in a half a day to do it right. So y'all come go with me. We're going to dive into this piece of property and we're going to dissect it, and I'm going to show y'all what the deer do on this piece of property. And I really think that you'll be able to use it on whatever properties that you have access to hunt. As you can see right here behind me, this is a food plot location that I prepared a couple years back. Now, I've had big bucks coming here, and you can see I've got a licking vine right there that I put up, and I've got a stand over here, and I've had cameras and food plots and all the stuff. But in this area, there's lots of pressure, and I never got one single mature daylight picture of a mature buck in this food plot. Not once. Maybe a 2.5-year-old buck, but anytime after that, these open spots like this and where I hunt, they just get wise to them. Now, I'm not saying that I won't plant this, because this will have deer activity and it'll hold some deer, a few deer in the area. So I still may, take my time and invest some money into planting this again and surveying it, putting up a camera and seeing what it has to offer. Something might change. All right, so one thing that I've recently done in the past couple of years is I've added e-bikes to my tool list, if you will, for hunting. They're quiet, they're scent free. I can ride this little thing all the way to my stand if I want to. I'm going to be using this particular e-bike today. This is a TST moped style e-bike with a smaller bike, which is, y'all see it, which is good for me because I'm not real tall. But you're 6'2", that's no problem. I've been using this thing in my yard every day since they sent it to me, and so far I like it. It has a lot of torque pedal assist. It also has a throttle on it. Has blinkers, brake lights, big old headlight, fenders, front and back fenders. Has a shock in the front, shock in the middle. Nice comfortable seat. So far I really like this e-bike. It's a TST e-bike. If y'all want to check these out, they're under $1,000. You can't hardly get a mountain bike these days for $1,000. And here's one right here that'll drive itself. I think it's right at 900 bucks right now. I'll leave a link in the description box below if y'all want to check these bikes out. That power button down. Tap this top button twice for your blinker, your right blinker. Tap this twice for your left blinker. There's your headlight. There's your LCD screen. And this is how fast you'll want to go. What gear? That's first gear, or the speed rather, second gear. And here's how you shift gears. Just a quick look around at this little food plot that I made a couple years ago. All I did, chainsaw, it was semi-open already in here. I just opened it up a little bit more. It's probably, I don't know, 25 yards wide by 50 yards long, something like that. Here's a licking vine right here. I probably need to replace it because it's about rotten. They'll still use it, but they'll open this up every year. I've got a stand in this sweet gum right up here, and I've also, there's a trail that comes out right here. Rope scrape right there. You can see where that's still open from the rut this past year. And these deer, I can put a camera up on this thing and they're using it right now. There's a trail right there, goes out, and that's select cut pines. Then on the other side of that, where I'm assuming they bed, is a pine thicket. And my stand is in that sweet gum right there. I can shoot this rope scrape, and I can shoot this entire food plot right here if I so choose to hunt here. All around this food plot, it will be tore up with scrapes inside the timber edge around in here. All right, here we go. All right, we're at our first stop. Every single year, my truck in that food plot is just right back there. I don't know if y'all can see it. We just left there, and every single year, they're gonna make scrapes right here. Right there where that branch is laying, there's your licking branch right there. Licking branch, scrape. And they also opened up two other ones right here. I've got a camera there. I don't know if it's still working or not. It's in the off position. Dang it. I just would have let y'all see what was on there if it was still working. But they'll usually, you can see right there was a scrape. And I will hunt this spot a time or two. And I did make a set right there in that pine tree overlooking this scrape this past year. I hunted it one time, and I had a doe come straight to this scrape, walk under my stand, and just ease off through there. All right, so you're walking onto your new lease. This is a square 40 acres. So the first thing you're gonna do whenever you come in here, I'm not gonna sit here and walk around this whole 40 acres because I already know what's here. And there's one, maybe 3 stands locations on this 40 acres that's worth hunting. Now, it is legal to bait here in Louisiana, but we're not scouting right now to hunt over bait. I'm showing y'all how to use what the property has to offer. I've got a little box stand right here down this road right here that I'll hunt with my kids some, you know, and we'll put out bait and stuff right there just to draw deer in, and they can get a shot and all that stuff. But this today is primarily bow hunting spots. I call kill spots. the deer have to come through there for whatever reason I choose that spot for. Now, what you're going to do is outline the entire property. Okay? You're going to walk around the entire property, and any trails that you see, get your maps out, your OnX or your Hunt Stand, whatever you use, and drop a pin. Put the little trail mark on there every time you come across a trail whenever you're walking the perimeter of the property. Your main trails, whenever you mark those main trails, what you're going to do is go back to those trails that you marked and see where those trails go. And it's probably a good idea to turn on your tracker. Whenever you walk down these trails, turn on your tracker. Whenever you get done walking down all those trails, all those main trails, what you're going to do is find out where these trails dissect, where they come together. You might have 3 trails that finger off into one. You understand? So whenever you have those trails, 3, 4 trails coming into one, you triple your chances of killing a deer, because 3 trails merge into one. If you walk on this piece of property and I say, hey, there's a trail right here, it's a beat down trail, and I don't go try to see where those trails go, you have a 3 times better chance of killing a deer if you hunt where those trails come together. Does that make sense? You might even have 5 trails come together. All those trails are going to merge into one spot, or could potentially merge into one spot, and then you'll decide where you need to set up a stand. Any scrapes you come across, any rubs you come across, mark them on your OnX maps. Just mark every one of them you see. Okay? Then, there's a hair. If your property has a creek, which this property does have a creek, there's not a lot of trails on this property. Inside this timber up here is mostly open timber. These bucks sometimes don't like to travel inside that open timber till after dark. Then after you finish marking all your trails, walking all your trails, and possibly marking some stand locations, just bring some flagging with you. Whenever you see a spot that you might want to set up a stand, put some flagging up and mark it. Also mark it on your OnX maps, stand location, and what wind direction you need, depending on what side of the trail you're on and the access you have. You need to write that in your notes whenever you mark that tree. After you do that, this piece of property has a creek. That's a huge giveaway of some places, creek crossings, that we need to keep an eye on. Like I said, this piece of property does have a creek, and we're going to walk down it here shortly. That's pretty much the best place on this piece of property to hunt, is on that creek. There's a creek crossing back here. That's where I had pictures of every one of those shooters. All 3 or 4 of them I had last year was at that creek crossing, and I had some daylight pictures of them. There's very few, but I'm going to do some things this year to try to spruce up that creek crossing to make it more appealing to them. And I had a picture of one of the shooters right here in this scrape. It was just one picture, and it was at night when it was raining. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take you deeper inside of this 40 acres, kind of show you what it looks like. All right, here's that box stand I was telling y'all about. I built that, me and my dad built that this past year. But this is predominantly what this property has to offer right here. It's open hardwoods, and behind me is those select pines, I guess you could say. Pretty sure all the deer are bedded over here. The creek crossing I'm about to show y'all is right this direction. It's really close to their bedding area. I'm not saying that no bucks are going to come into this open timber in the daylight, but other than finding a feed tree that they're really hammering, I just don't waste my time hunting inside open timber with a bow. That's just me personally. I want a spot to where if I see a deer, I'm pretty sure he's fixing to cross through there. rather than just blatantly going and setting up in the middle of the woods somewhere, hoping a deer comes by. All right, y'all, we are inside of this piece of property. On this particular piece, there's no defined trails in any of this, nothing. I have found some scrapes down in here before. There's houses up in there. Like I say, I'm just not gonna blatantly set up on something out here for no reason. In order for me to set up a spot to bow hunt, it needs to give me 3 reasons to hunt there. At least 3 reasons. You need to have 3 odds in your favor of why you want to hunt there. Whether it's security cover, a pinch point, access, food source. Alright, there's a rub right there along this creek, so go ahead and mark that on your maps. Alright, more rubs. Go ahead and mark that. Preferably, we would be doing this in February when all the foliage is off the trees and you can still see scrapes and trails that they were using during deer season. I'm just now getting around to making this video. We're at a creek crossing right here. It rained not long ago, so there's probably not going to be many deer tracks. But this is a creek crossing that they use. You can see how it kind of slopes down right here. They're going to use this slope, walk right up that bank. You can see where they've been using it right there. They're not going to cross anywhere in there. It drops off too much right there. It just kind of gradually drops off right here, goes up that creek. He won't have no issues climbing up that right there. You can see they've climbed right there a few times too. I'm gonna back up and let you see that. You can just see where it gradually slopes down. He'll go down here and get him a drink, cross that creek. This is the creek crossing. Now, if this is all your property offered right here, it might be worth looking into to hunt. Setting up a tree or two, one on this side of the creek, one on each side of the creek. But this creek crossing over here is better than this one, so I'm not gonna fool with it. All right, I thought about hunting here in the past. I just have not. That creek is right here, and I've got a trail right there on the side of that creek, and I've also got one right here. Okay, when you have properties like this that there's not a whole lot of defined trails until you get to the spot where they're coming through. And of course, anytime there's a bank like that, the deer's hooves dig in the ground and cause a little bit of erosion, and it's easy to pick these trails out. Now, whenever they're coming down these trails, they might just come do whatever they're gonna do till they get to this defined spot right here. And this is where they're gonna cross, right there, or right there. All right, they're not gonna wanna cross over here. Now, if I wanted to, I could pick one of these trees out right here, and I may do that this year for the deer that are traveling this way. I'm just not really interested in that because there's houses over there, and it's not a long distance travel spot. Y'all can see, like I say, it's rained, but that's one of the trails right there. And here's another one. Right through there, pretty defined trail. All right, here's another one right here. Looks like they're going down here and going up right there. All right, and the spot that I just showed y'all where that trail is right there. Here's another one. I would mark this. There's actually some tracks on this one. That's all right. Coming down here, going right through there, going under that tree and busting through there. I don't really like that one. Here's another one, and I think I've pretty much proved my point that it's sloped off right here. It's not a drop off. Come here, go there, or come here, go down and go up right there. You can see where they've been coming through there, right there. But if I was going to hunt here, I would probably move that log right there to make it easier for them to come up right there. All right, we've arrived to the main creek crossing at this particular piece of property. The deer are bedded up here, and I've already got some sticks set up where I hunted here a couple times last year, and had pictures of either 3 or 4 shooters right here on this creek crossing. And there are a few deer tracks here, and they'll usually use this as a licking branch right here. Skeeters are bad, some deer tracks, but here's the licking branch, and they'll usually put a scrape right here, believe it or not, in this sand. Tracks right there in that big white oak is where I've got my stand right there. There's also a rub right there, but what the deer are going to do, they're going to filter this direction, if they want to go across this creek, they're going to come through here, come on down. You can see it's a nice slope, nice easy slope, no problem for a deer. Right here in this water where I had pictures of those big deer. And I know this year that I need to hide my camera better, because I had it in that tree right there, and every one of them, I had it on video mode, every one of them spotted my camera and didn't like it. But what they're going to do, walk up this creek bank right here. I'm going to cross it and show you what they're doing. You can see where it's washed out right here. And there's my tree right there. Just depending on where they're at, where I can shoot them. Now I'm probably going to move this log right here. That way they don't have to jump over it. And you can see again why those deer aren't crossing over there, or just basically not crossing. There's that creek crossing from this side. My stand's behind me. And for this stand, my access is from up there. There's a little drain that I walk down and slip in the back of that stand. But this year I might put a stand in one of these trees over here. That way I can catch them coming this way, maybe even traveling the creek, and put it in one of these trees over here. And I'll access it from that side. That's the side we came in from. Luckily I have access from this side and that side, from the front and the back. But these deer will walk through right here. And this is another transition. This has been logged before, or select cut before rather. So it's just a different habitat diversity from here to here. And there's my tree. Let's see, I've got some trimming I need to do. And they'll make a scrape right here. There's a deer track right there. And they also had a scrape right here. Right there. Alright. Now they can get through there a lot easier. Alright, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this little ironwood right here and kind of angle it over to discourage them from using this trail. Also blocked it off with that log right there from using that right there, because I mean it's like 5 yards from my tree, but I'm going to angle it over to discourage them from going that direction. They got a clear path to go straight through there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to put a stand, preset location, in this tree right here. I like that. Alright, so that second stand location is right here. I went ahead and cut this tree down right here, kind of angled it off right here to try to block this trail. And then creek crossing's right there. I opened this up right here. That way, if they want to go this way, they'll go through right there. And I've got about a 12-yard shot instead of like a 8-yard shot. Probably even less than that. Alright, I'm gonna go back to the truck and get some minerals that I had at the house. I'm gonna go ahead and set up a mineral site right here, put up a camera, and I'm also gonna get a game plan of setting up that tree over there. And I'm gonna come in here with a pole saw, trim everything out that needs to be trimmed, trim everything on that side for both stands, and I'm pretty much gonna leave this spot alone. And I know that deer don't use minerals much once the season gets rolling, whenever you can actually hunt them. But I've seen them use minerals in early October as well. So I don't really want to put bait or anything like that at this spot. I want to keep it as natural as possible. You start putting out bait, them big bucks, they pick up on it pretty quick. So, and you know, I'll just monitor this area. There may not even be a shooter in this area this next year, but if one moves in, we'll be ready for him. Mineral sites, just to get them acclimated to coming here more often, and hopefully, you know, during the season they'll just kind of be conditioned or whatever to traveling through here. I'm walking back to the truck right now. I wanted to show y'all this. There's always some rubs up in here. You can see one right there. But this is like just a little small island. There's another one. There's another one. This is a little small island of whatever these are. Deer love to rub those things. And there, old one. Alright, I'm back at the truck. I'm gonna fly my drone real quick while my GoPro charges up for a little while. And I'm gonna give y'all an aerial shot of what it looks like. You probably won't be able to see much because all the foliage is on the trees, but you'll kind of get an idea of the lay of the land, and maybe it can help puzzle some things together in your brain. All right, we're walking back in there. We got about I don't know, 300-yard walk, something like that. But I'm putting out a mineral recipe that I've actually got on the YouTube channel. I have some left over from that video. All right, y'all, I'm hot. It's all done. Got that camera. It's probably 10 feet high right there. And I'm pleased with the progress we got done with today. Here's my minerals. Got them over here to the side. Here. Stand 1, creek crossing, stand 2, and that little trail that I cleared out. I mean, they can either go this way or they can go this way. They got a little linkage branch right here that they always use anyway. And then if they want to use this, or I cleared this out, put another vine right here. I just tied it up there with some clove hitches. There's my scrape branch vine. All right. All right, y'all. I enjoyed making this video for y'all. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure you leave a comment, give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also I want to thank TST for sending me this e-bike. If y'all want to check them out, I'll leave a link in the description box below. I had a lot of fun on this thing. It's got plenty of torque. It's got lots of power. I'm enjoying it. So if y'all want to check them out, link in the description box below. And God bless, and we'll catch y'all on the next video. Bye. Redline Outdoors.